Hey guys, hey, welcome to the Analog Life. Hey, I'm so glad you guys joined me. So today I'm gonna talk about something that may be a bit controversial. In the past, I've already talked about my passion for analog devices. Hey, I even spoke about investing in analog devices, and you can check out those videos right here. I've also spoken about digital devices and how I feel like digital technologies are in our time pretty unsteady, in the sense that, for example, you have all these devices, your phones, that have to be in an upgrade cycle, and in my opinion I felt like those were not sustainable. Where most of us have old devices that we can do nothing about. They're just junk collecting dust somewhere in your cupboard somewhere. And imagine that's just what's in your home, and if you multiply that by so many people all over the world, you can see the amount of waste that's being produced with digital devices. I even showcased stuff that I have bought that are completely good in terms of the hardware, but just because the software has been updated or no longer supported, the thing that I bought with the intention of having it for a long time, I can no longer use those things. And to me, I found that to be not just insulting to us consumers, but also very wasteful. It puts us in this hyper consumerism cycle that is not sustainable, because the Earth's resources are limited and we just can't sustain this level of consumerism. I myself, full disclosure, I'm an environmental scientist. So in my professional experience, I deal with a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about. But beyond that, I also have a personal interest, as I have shown in this channel with my love for analog things, that I love analog things because you can actually use them for a much longer time. I have devices like those things up there that I can enjoy anytime I want without having to rely on some software updates or something hosted in some cloud somewhere for me to enjoy them. And then also the fact that when I buy things, I actually own the copies that I actually have, right? It's not stored in some cloud somewhere. I'm not dependent on the charity of a company maintaining that service for me to enjoy that thing that I bought. So that said, you guys know how I feel about analog technologies. There's so many advantages that I'm not going to focus on for this video. What I wanted to focus on for this video, however, is something that I hinted on in my previous videos when I talked about cryptocurrency and digital, and how I felt like all this stuff is just so fickle, right? Because services get canned all the time. Think about your computer's operating system. I have computers that I used to run on Windows XP, Windows 7, no longer supported. What do you do with the computers? What do you do with the old hardware? It's anybody's guess. So you have computers that can no longer be supported, and that oftentimes cannot even be upgraded because they run with an older version of the hardware that's no longer supported by the drivers. You know what I mean. And I felt like cryptocurrency and all this digital stuff is oftentimes hyped up to a level that is not realistic, because you don't actually own the thing that you're putting your money into. And today I want to specifically talk about NFTs. I mentioned that in my previous video, but today I want to specifically talk about NFTs and why I feel NFTs are a scam. At least in the way that it is being implemented right now, I feel like it's a scam. And why am I talking about this? Because it's related to this whole analog technologies and how I feel instead of investing in NFTs, which are just like vaporware, you should actually invest in things, tangible things, things that you actually can own. And NFTs, what are NFTs? Let's start with that. NFTs are non-fungible tokens. So they're like, theoretically, they're supposed to be digital assets that are protected by the blockchain. And what's a blockchain? The blockchain is a complex set of calculations, of mathematical calculations run on the computer, very powerful computers that sort of lock that asset with a code, or with you can think of it as a digital password that only you with the key can unlock that. So the idea is that in the same way as you have physical assets, like I have film cameras, you could actually have a digital asset like a digital painting, music, you name it, photography, you name it, where you can have those assets, and then those assets are protected with the blockchain. And then because it's non-fungible, meaning it's non-transferable, when you own it or you own a part of that digital asset, then that becomes attributed to you and to you alone, right? So it could be an investment opportunity. I mean, theoretically, that makes sense. So don't get me wrong. I believe in the theory of it, which is if it was actually the way it's being implemented. The way it's been implemented right now, it's so out of it that we're nowhere close to it being actually non-fungible. And I will explain. So NFTs, the basic concept is that you own that digital asset. You're buying into it or you're investing into it. So technically, if you own that asset, then no one else should have access to it. But that's not what's happening. The current implementation of NFTs is that if I made the artwork, number one, NFTs that are being sold, you don't actually own the rights to that artwork. The creator still maintains the right to that artwork. So what's going on is that folks, I don't even know what's being sold. What exactly is being sold? Is it the access to, like, the privilege to actually view that artwork on demand? Because that's not even what it is. And NFTs, are they actually protected by blockchain? Because anyone could download the image. And that's the ironic thing. They're not really non-fungible. If I can just download the asset and print it and enjoy it in my room, I mean, you could invest in this thing in the cloud, but anyone with a computer and with access to modern technology can just download the asset. So they're not really non-fungible. That's number one. Number two, you don't even have the rights to what you are paying for. What's there to invest in if the creator still maintains the copyright and still maintains the right to that thing that you're invested in? They're not selling the copyright. They're not selling that. So they still technically own that thing. It's like me owning a CD and thinking that I actually own the catalog. No, I don't. Because the artist still maintains the ownership of the catalog. That artist has the rights to the song. So investing in NFTs is pretty counterintuitive in my humble opinion. So that's the first point, is that they're not really non-fungible and you don't own the assets. You don't actually own those assets. You know, NFTs feel to me like a pyramid scheme. It just feels like those that go in first. It's very hyped up right now. When I did my video previously, this was before things really picked up and really got to this level of insanity right now, where people are making a lot of money for things that they don't actually own, right? And it feels like a pyramid scheme. It just feels like folks are getting in, and those that get in first benefit a lot. They flip and flip and flip, and those assets become more expensive, and the question is, what are you really buying? Some people have compared these assets to like the Mona Lisa. It's like owning a stake in the Mona Lisa. The only problem is you don't actually own a stake in anything. You just own a digital asset that anyone can download, and the creator still maintains the copyright. So you don't really own the Mona Lisa here, okay? The other thing that is going on with the NFTs as is currently being implemented is that anyone can take somebody else's creation and sell it without any checks or balances. The fact that these so-called creators can actually opt to remain anonymous is encouraging a lot of black market transactions and money laundering, and that's happening right now. There are folks that have stolen digital assets by other creators and put it on the market in NFTs, maybe even modify them slightly and then pass it off as their own, and no one really checks those in these marketplaces to make sure that they're genuine and they're actually authentic and from that person, that as a creation of that person that's selling them. And that's another big red flag that to me indicates that this is really heading into scam territory here. Anyone can put anything out there and claim that it's theirs, and that's a big problem. So NFTs by concept, to me, they're good. I mean, I'm a creator myself. I'm a musician. I also create digital content, and I've thought about it, but then I concluded that the current implementation of this NFT thing is just a scam. I don't want to make money off somebody. If they're not going to own my music, then what am I really selling to them? They could just buy my CDs and own a part of it. What am I really selling if I created NFTs of my music? I'm not selling the rights to the music. I'm not selling them any portion of anything. I'm just, what exactly am I selling? Those of you out there who may know better than I do, I mean, I'm gonna leave this open. Put your comments in the comment section of this video and let me know, if I sold my music, what exactly am I selling if I'm not selling the rights to the music? What exactly are investors investing in? You could just go and stream my music or download a copy or buy a CD instead of buying NFTs. What exactly are you investing in, you know? So that's another thing. And if I made money off it, am I not scamming you guys? Because you may be of the false impression that you're actually going to own the rights to my music, and you're not going to own the rights to my music. And that's why I cannot in any clear conscience support this NFT movement. The other issue that I have found with NFTs is that the creators can just disappear with your money, and there's no accountability in that way. Recently there's a case where I'm gonna put it right there, you can check it out. There's a story right there where the creator just absconded with, I think, over $2 million, I think $2.7 million of investors' money, and the guy is gone. The guys are gone and the money is gone as well. So that allows for a lot of scam artists to do unscrupulous things Like I mentioned, there's a lot of money laundering that's happening because of this NFT thing. Folks are not really accountable. You can buy NFTs with all kinds of different accounts, different marketplaces that are not tracked by the revenue agencies in your countries. So it allows for a lot of shady and underhanded things to happen. The original idea was that this was supposed to create a scarcity of the product, and with that scarcity you have a market value. So there's a market value that's given that product because you're creating a scarcity. It's not like a physical product like diamonds or gold, where those are limited and there's nothing we can do about it except we go to space and mine more rare stuff, right? There's a scarcity that's placed on those items just because they are limited. So what NFTs are trying to do is to create that artificial scarcity for these products. But that goes against the basic concept of digital technologies, because in digital technologies, guys, you cannot really create a scarcity of things unless you're willing to tie everything down in a blockchain, because those pictures are out there, the music is out there, people can reproduce the music, they can copy them, they can do all kinds of things. Even if you play the music, someone can just use an analog device to record it. So you're not really able to tie down anything if it's digital. And that's the problem, right? The technologies don't allow for that to happen. So the concept of using a blockchain just to be able to tie things down and create that artificial scarcity, in my opinion, is going to be really hard to do, unless the whole framework of our existence in the digital realm changes. There will need to be a huge paradigm shift for everything to work properly as intended, for this whole NFT thing to actually be useful and to be practical and actually fulfill what it's meant to fulfill. In my opinion, I feel like this whole movement as it is right now is pretty problematic, and folks who want to invest in NFTs need to approach it with a lot of caution and a lot of care. I thought about creating some myself. Like I mentioned, I'm a creator, so I have a lot of things, digital assets that I could create. But after a lot of thought, I felt like I could not do that in the right conscience. So that's where I am at, guys, and this is solely my opinion. This is my opinion on the matter, and if you have a different opinion, by all means, put it in the comment section. Just try to be as courteous as you can be. I want it to be a respectful dialogue so that we can get our points across. I know a lot of people have money invested in these things, and there's gonna be a lot of people that have vested interest in keeping this whole cryptocurrency and NFTs alive and well. So my intention here is not to take your money away from you or anything, but it's just to state my opinion. So by all means, put your comments in the comment section of this video, and let's have a healthy discussion. Alright, thanks guys for joining me on this episode, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.